Good evening. Let's start tonight with hymn number 144. In atmosphere of love divine, we live and move and breathe. Though mortal eyes may see it not, 'tis sense that would deceive. Hymn number 144. Version of the Holy Bible. Psalms. Deal with thy servant according unto thy mercy, and teach me thy statutes. I am thy servant. Give me understanding, that I may know thy testimonies. It is time for thee, Lord, to work, for they have made void thy law. Therefore I love thy commandments above gold, yea, above fine gold. Therefore I esteem all thy precepts concerning all things to be right, and I hate every false way. 1 Kings. Now in the 18th year of King Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, reigned Abijam over Judah. 3 years reigned he in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Maacah, the daughter of Absalom. And he walked in all the sins of his father, which he had done before him. And his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as the heart of David his father. Nevertheless, for David's sake, did the Lord his God give him a lamp in Jerusalem, to set up his son after him, and to establish Jerusalem. Because David did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, and turned not aside from anything that he commanded him all the days of his life, save only in the matter of Uriah the Hittite. Proverbs. Doth not wisdom cry, and understanding put forth her voice? She standeth in the top of high places, by the way in the places of the paths. She crieth at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming in at the doors. Unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of man. O ye simple, understand wisdom, and ye fools, be ye of an understanding heart. Hear, for I will speak of excellent things, and the openings of my lips shall be right things. For my mouth shall speak truth, and wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness. There is nothing froward or perverse in them. They are all plain to him that understandeth, and right to them that find knowledge. Proverbs. Yea, my reins shall rejoice when thy lips speak right things. Isaiah. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. For his princes were at Zoan, and his ambassadors came to Hanes. They were all ashamed of a people that could not profit them, nor be in help, nor profit, but a shame and also a reproach. The burden of the beasts of the south, into the land of trouble and anguish, from whence come the young and old lion, the viper and fiery flying serpent. They will carry their riches upon the shoulders of young asses, and their treasures upon the bunches of camels, to a people that shall not profit them. For the Egyptians should help in vain, and to no purpose. Therefore have I cried concerning this. Their strength is to sit still. Now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for the time to come, forever and ever. That this is a rebellious people, lying children, children that will not hear the law of the Lord, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things. Speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits. Get you out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. Wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word, and trust in oppression and perverseness, and stay thereon, therefore this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant. And he shall break it as the breaking of the potter's vessel that is broken in pieces. He shall not spare, so that there shall not be found in the bursting of it assured to take fire from the hearth, or to take water withal out of the pit. For thus saith the Lord God, the Holy One of Israel, in returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. For thus saith the Lord that created the heavens, God himself that formed the earth and made it. He hath established it. He created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. I am the Lord, and there is none else. I have not spoken in secret in a dark place of the earth. I said not unto the seed of Jacob, seek ye me in vain. I, the Lord, speak righteousness. I declare things that are right. Hosea. Who is wise, and he shall understand these things, prudent, and he shall know them. For the ways of the Lord are right, and the just shall walk in them, but the transgressors shall fall therein. 2 Timothy. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. I'll now read Peralta passages from our denominational textbook, Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, by Mary Baker Eddy. Question: what is God? Answer: God is incorporeal, divine, supreme, infinite mind, spirit, soul, principle, life, truth, love. Question: are these terms synonymous? Answer: they are. They refer to one absolute God. They are also intended to express the nature, essence, and wholeness of deity. The attributes of God are justice, mercy, wisdom, goodness, and so on. Question: is there more than one God or principle? Answer: there is not. Principle and its idea is one, and this one is God, omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent being, and his reflection is man and the universe. Omni is adopted from the Latin adjective signifying all. Hence, God combines all power or potency, all science or true knowledge, all presence. The varied manifestations of Christian science indicate mind, never matter, and have one principle. I, or ego. Divine principle, spirit, soul, incorporeal, unerring, immortal, and eternal mind. There is but one I, or us, but one divine principle or mind governing all existence. Man and woman, unchanged forever in their individual characters, even as numbers which never blend with each other, though they are governed by one principle. The Christian scientist, understanding scientifically that all is mind, commences with mental causation, the truth of being, to destroy the error. This corrective is an alterative, reaching to every part of the human system. According to Scripture, it searches the joints and marrow, and it restores the harmony of man. Question: what is intelligence? Answer: intelligence is omniscience, omnipresence, and omnipotence. It is the primal and eternal quality of infinite mind, of the triune principle, life, truth, and love, named God. God is the creator of man, and the divine principle of man remaining perfect, the divine idea or reflection, man, remains perfect. Man is the expression of God's being. If there was ever a moment when man did not express the divine perfection, then there was a moment when man did not express God, and consequently a time when deity was unexpressed, that is, without entity. If man has lost perfection, then he has lost his perfect principle, the divine mind. If man ever existed without this perfect principle or mind, then man's existence was a myth. The relations of God and man, divine principle and idea, are indestructible in science, and science knows no lapse from nor return to harmony, but holds the divine order or spiritual law in which God and all that he creates are perfect and eternal, to have remained unchanged in its eternal history. Jesus proved the principle, which heals the sick and casts out error, to be divine. Few, however, except his students, understood in the least his teachings and their glorious proofs, namely that life, truth, and love, the principle of this unacknowledged science, destroy all error, evil, disease, and death. Since the author's discovery of the might of truth in the treatment of disease as well as of sin, her system has been fully tested and it has not been found wanting. But to reach the heights of Christian science, man must live in obedience to its divine principle. The divine principle of healing is proved in the personal experience of any sincere seeker of truth. One whom I rescued from seeming spiritual oblivion, in which the senses had engulfed him, wrote to me, "I should have died but for the glorious principle you teach, supporting the power of mind over the body, in showing me the nothingness of the so-called pleasures and pains of sense. The treaties I had read and the medicines I had taken only abandoned me to be more hopeless, suffering and despair. Adherence to hygiene was useless. Mortal mind needed to be set right. The ailment was not bodily, but mental, and I was cured when I learned my way in Christian science." The Bible contains the recipe for all healing. The leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. Sin and sickness are both healed by the same principle. The tree is typical of man's divine principle, which is equal to every emergency, offering full salvation from sin, sickness, and death. Sin will submit to Christian science when, in place of modes and forms, the power of God is understood and demonstrated in the healing of mortals, both mind and body. Perfect love casteth out fear. Christian science silences human will, quiets fear with truth and love, and illustrates the unlabored motion of the divine energy in healing the sick. Self-seeking, envy, passion, pride, hatred, and revenge are cast out by the divine mind which heals disease. The human will which maketh and worketh a lie, hiding the divine principle of harmony, is destructive to health, and is the cause of disease rather than its cure. Teaching or practicing in the name of truth, but contrary to its spiritual rules, is most dangerous quackery. Strict adherence to the divine principle and rules of the scientific method has secured the only success of the students of Christian Science. This alone entitles them to the high standing which most of them hold in the community, a reputation experimentally justified by their efforts. It is anything but scientifically Christian to think of aiding the divine principle of healing or of trying to sustain the human body until the divine mind is ready to take the case. Divinity is always ready. Semper Paratus is truth's motto. Having seen so much suffering from quackery, the author desires to keep it out of Christian Science. Lips must be mute, and materialism silent, that man may have audience with spirit, the divine principle, love, which destroys all error. Let us rid ourselves of the belief that man is separated from God, and obey only the divine principle, life and love. Look away from the body into truth and love, the principle of all happiness, harmony, and immortality. Outside of the science, all is mutable, but immortal man, in accord with the divine principle of his being, God, neither sins, suffers, nor dies. The divine principle of the universe must interpret the universe. God is the divine principle of all that represents him and of all that really exists. Christian Science, as demonstrated by Jesus, alone reveals the natural, divine principle of science. All is infinite mind and its infinite manifestation, for God is all in all. Let's take a few moments for silent prayer, followed by the audible repetition of the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Our second hymn this evening is hymn number 504. I want to know the truth that Jesus taught us, to taste the liberty his promise brought us. In life we see that fear and death are not found. We know as mind is knowing we are God crowned. Hymn number 504.
us in healing and in preaching. Love's gospel casts out sin and brings us healing, whereby we all are blessed by truth's revealing. Forever we have truth as Jesus stated, the soul that gives the joy we've all awaited, and principle to guide our pathway upward, the light and harmony that moves us forward.
This meeting is now open for the sharing of your testimonies of healing and thoughts and remarks on Christian Science.
That was so short. I didn't even have time to take a nap. I'll see you guys on Sunday.
All right, bye.
Bye.
I'm just thinking about one of my first healings a long time ago. I was putting drywall on the laundry room ceiling, and Chuck and Carl were there, and they were helping me. Chuck was holding it up with a 2x4, and I was holding it and using the drill to put screws in it, and the drill slipped off of the screw, and the screwdriver bit on it went through my fingernail, and there was all of a sudden blood coming out, and I put the drill down, and Chuck's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Just drop it." So he dropped the drywall, and I grabbed a rag or something, put it around it. He's like, "What am I gonna do?" I'm like, well, I went upstairs, and I had Science and Health on the table beside the bed, and I just kept it wrapped up with a washcloth, and I just read for like, I don't know, probably 10 minutes. I don't even remember what I read. But I took the washcloth off, and it wasn't bleeding anymore, and I went and I washed off the dry blood, and it was just like it never happened. Like the nail was fine, there was no cut or scrape or anything. And, I went downstairs, and Chuck was like, "Do you need to go get stitches or something?" I'm like, "No, it's fine, let's get the drywall." Thanks for your readings tonight.
Number 267. Our God is all in all, cannot fear. See baseless evil fall, and know that God is here. Hymn number 267.